not cake.
Close it to your mouth, please.
Seriously? It's just not. This presentation is meant to prove to you that pie and cake are two inherently different items. No insult to understand. Okay, in attempting to understand what pie and cake are and how they are different, we'll start with definitions. Cake is a sweet, baked, bread-like food made with a rising agent. Pie is crust with filling, meat or fruit or anything really, main point being crust with filling. Okay, basic history. Cake originally was just sweetened flour. From the time people knew what flour was, they would sweeten it and bake it on a hot stone to make a cake-like substance. The Greeks had flat cakes, which they would make with nuts and honey. The Romans basically had cheesecake. More on that later. In the 1700s, eggs replaced yeast as a rising agent, and they would whip up the eggs in order to make the cakes rise. But during the Industrial Revolution, there became a mass production of ingredients, and cake became available to the general public. And there was also the invention of baking powder and baking soda, which became the new rising agents. Pie, originally, like in 9500 BC, the ancient Egyptians would take grains and make a little pie filled with honey and bake it over coals. The Greeks invented pastry. They would wrap their meat in it in order to keep it moist. The Romans had meat and fish in pies, or cheese also, more on that later. In the 14th century, pie was used as entertainment. One example, the Duke of Burgundy at one point had a party where he presented a massive pie with a 28-piece orchestra inside, playing music, and had a captive girl pop out of the pie representing the captive church in the Middle East and other such forms of entertainment. The Pilgrims brought pie to America, and they used whatever the Native Americans told them that they can use inside, which is where we get fruit pies, berries, and over the course of time, pie became a center of American culture. Okay, genetic properties of cake.
What?
Cake has a rising agent. Pie is a crust with filling. The purpose. Cake was always meant as dessert. Pie was meant as a main dish and then eventually evolved to dessert. Cheese pie, or cheesecake as we know it. Definition of cheesecake is a tart made with cream cheese and sugar, sometimes with a topping. In other words, cheesecake is a pie filled with cheese instead of fruit or meat. Okay. Global recognition. January 23rd is National Pie Day. There is the American Pie Council, which runs National Pie Day.
March 14th is Pie Day.
That's the other Pie Day. That one's complicated because the date is backwards. Pie fairs. If you would like to attend a pie fair, all you need to do is Google your nearest one. They are all over every small town, USA. Everywhere you go, there is a pie fair. And at every pie fair, there is a pie eating contest. Yes. Lots of pie representation. Cake Day, according to everything I've seen, is your Reddit anniversary. So, in conclusion, where do we draw the line? If we are going to allow pies at the cake conference, how can we stop there? Why not cookies and tarts and mousse and all kinds of delicious desserts, which are not cake and may be represented elsewhere?
Does anyone have questions? Yes.
On the pie category or the cake category?
Repeat the question, please.
Does it have a rising agent? It is that simple.
It's a thin layer of cake that rises at the crust inside, and then it's filled with dessert.
Does this
What is
cake have baking powder?
Like half of that.
Yeah, it does kind of sound like formula.
Intermarriage.
Yeah.
So by your own definition, cookies would qualify as cake.
Closer to your mouth.
Yes, that is true. Cookies would qualify according to my definition. That doesn't mean I believe that they should be at the cake conference, because I believe in separation. We need a day to focus on cookies. If people care for that. Yeah.
Okay.
Someone there. Yeah.
A couple of things. One is in Hebrew, uga means, it comes from the word for circle. And circle, we can calculate a circle by pi. Secondly, the rising agent also, we go back to the Torah, we have lechem matzot or ugot matzot, and we know that matzah is flat with no rising agent.
Well, there's no matzah here.
But it's called a type of cake. Matzah is a type of cake.
Can I make a statement on your side of the issue, perhaps?
Okay.
Just to bring that up, just for thought,
Yeah.
food for thought. If this is the Cake Awareness Conference, if we are of the opinion that cake requires our assistance to raise awareness, why are we muddying the issues by bringing in other forms of baked goods?
Thank you.
We're not saying that pie is bad or cookies are bad, we're just saying that we need to focus more on cake.
Raise awareness for raising
I want to
agents.
say a standing
Well, that's a whole separate
ovation.
conference.
The most important sentence you said was, this is a cake awareness conference. This is not the dessert awareness conference.
Right,
And a
exactly.
standing ovation for the cakes and that excellent sentence. Come on, cake people!
Another 2 questions, and then we gotta move on.
Yeah? I'll be the second. Okay.
Is there a kind of cheesecake that you consider to be cake?
I love cheesecake. I have nothing against cheesecake. It is not cake, it is pie. By definition. By
One more question.
My name is Daniel. Thank you for coming here and speaking about this very important topic. This question is really an inspiration to us all. But I would like to ask, is the reason that you got onto the schedule for this conference so late because certain forces are trying to silence what you're trying to say?
Unlike the first time this issue was presented on the Cake Conference Facebook page. And I had a semi-tantrum and insisted on making a presentation.
Yes. That's all.
Liza, for this very important event.
Thank you very much, Saraleah. I will say that while I don't personally agree with your stance on cake, I appreciate your presence at this conference to contribute to the dialogue on the subject. Next up, we actually have a break scheduled, followed by a whole long chunk of speeches. There were supposed to be more speeches, but a couple people weren't here. We just had a break, so I think we're gonna move on to the next speech by Elisha Rotman and Lily Day, who will be speaking about whose topic is called "Maximize Your Cake Potential: A Life-Changing Seminar on Cake Empowerment."